Hello, everybody. Peace and blessings to you, and good morning, or hello, whatever time of the day it is that you are watching this video. I am recording on a very pleasant, naturey sounding day in April 25th. I am absolutely sure that by the time this video is posted, it will be May. I highly doubt that this will be posted within the month of April because I have so many great recordings that has to be edited and released. They are good and worth posting. I call myself a social media turtle, meaning I cannot get my stuff out, as I record it. I can't post it. I can't post it as I record it. So it's hardly ever going to be, up to date in the timeline. So I know that when you click on my videos, you're gonna feel, oh, I'm late to the party. I'm just seeing this now. But don't worry about that, because the whole objective of my post and my channel is basically kind of recording like a journal, sharing my thoughts publicly, share my thoughts and some of my thoughts and intuitions and my intuitive perspective, sharing it to anybody who would be curious or interested and click on my videos when they see it. So, and for anybody who enjoys my vibe, enjoys my energy, accepts me as I am, don't compare me to anybody else, don't put expectations on me, just let me be me as I share what's in my mind and what's in my heart as an intuitive, an INFJ empath, a millennial mom of 5, an immigrant, an idealist, a progressive, agnostic, pro-democracy, pro-truth, pro-love, light worker, energy reading, creator, and navigator of this world. I absorb, I observe, and I just form opinions, ideas, and experience feelings and emotions, and I'm very, very in tune with myself, very in tune with my thoughts, very in tune with my intuition. So I use those gifts to my advantage by having this channel, being myself, and hopefully building something special just by being, just by becoming, just by growing and flowing and showing who I am to anybody who finds me, anybody who stumbles on me and sticks around and appreciates what I have to say. So, once again, I'm a social media turtle. This video, even though it's recorded on April 25th, 2025, it probably most likely won't be posted until May. But I just want to let you know that that's okay, because everything I say, it doesn't matter what time in the timeline it is when I say it. It's just to be in the moment and share that moment with you, and share where I was on this particular day at this particular time, and what vibes was I in. So this is an early morning post. This is one of my outside recordings. I came outside to take in the early morning sounds and to see the sun rising over the trees. One of the things that I love about where I live right now that I've noticed is that the view of the sun and the moon is just exquisite. For some reason, where we live, is just an ideal location to see the sun rising, to see the sun going down. Like the sun rises on this side and it goes down on the other side of the house, on the other side of the house at night. I can see the moon, and I can see the moon so crisp and clear, and I can see the I don't know what the right wording is, but I can see the phases, right? The phases of the moon, So I have the opportunity to see the sun and the moon in a more close up, enjoyable, I don't know what to say, like crisp, like sharp manner than I have before, you know. And I don't. It's not inconvenient. I don't have to go outside or anything to see. I mean, I just could see, have a perfect view of the sun and the moon, from the various windows in my house. And one of my favorite things when we moved here that I just absolutely loved is that the kitchen had what do you call it? A sunroof? Is that what you call it? Had the little window in the roof, so I could even see from certain times when the moon is high, I could see the moon from the sunroof in our kitchen. And I've shared a story before, you know. So if you happen to be somebody that watches me consistently, you would have heard it before, but you have already gotten used to me by now, and you would know that I repeat a lot of my stories and repeat a lot of my experiences just in case, because things tie into one another, one. And also just in case like somebody may be stumbling on me for the first time, I've never heard me share this story or never heard me share this experience. But I have shared this before that when we moved into this house, it was kind of like it was kind of like a hoarder's house vibe. It had a hoarder's house energy. Maybe not the worst case of what not the worst case of being a hoarder, not the worst case of hoardership. I don't know if hoardership is a word, but not one of the worst case, but it was pretty bad, pretty bad. And this is no judgment to the owner of this home, no judgment. This is no judgment to anybody. It was what it was. Every room, every single room was full of stuff, and it was full of cat hair because they had a cat that lived here, and it was full of dust. Everything had dust. It was a lot of old stuff, so a lot of things that haven't been dusted like almost seem like years. And there's old books, old stuff, just full of dust. And it was just not, it was a task, and when I came here, I saw the potential. I saw it. I saw it despite all the mess. And I, my husband and I, we volunteered to do the cleanup because we wanted to get in here so bad that we didn't want to wait for the owner of the home, to find somebody else to do the cleaning, to be the one to make the arrangements. We wanted to get into this house as soon as possible, especially because when we were looking at this house, when we had the opportunity to live here, when that conversation started, it was basically around Thanksgiving, and it was heading towards Christmas, and we needed a place to live. And even though we needed a place to live, we weren't going to just settle for anything, but we were blessed and privileged to not have to do that. We were blessed and privileged to just have the most beautiful opportunity presented to us in a package in which is like, if you really want it, if you really want it, you have to look past certain things. You have to see past what you're seeing in the physical, and you have to see the future. You have to see the energy of the future. You have to see the possibilities, and that's a perfect lesson for the time that we're into, where you have to look past the mess and you have to see the possibilities. You have to see the future, the vision of the future. And I saw it. Oh, you got to feel it too if you're like me and you are in tune with the vibrations of things, and you can feel energy in things, then you won't only be able to see the vision of the future, and you won't only be able to see the possibilities, but you could feel it too. You could feel the vibration of the future, and I did. I did feel it. I did feel the energy. I didn't care about the mess. I worked for months. It took us 6 months to get this place to a livable state. It took us 6 months to get every single room in the house to a livable, clean room, fully sorted, fully ready to be used state. We had to take it one room at a time, and each room was a task of its own. Each room was a big job, you know. And I did the basement practically by myself because I did the basement during winter. I know it would have been my husband's preference and this is in 2024, by the way, this was last year. I know it would have been my husband's preference to wait to spring to do the basement. But I was like, no, I don't want to wait to spring. I want that when spring come, we could hit the ground running with something else. We could focus on our energy on something else, and this basement would be ready. So I did the basement, 90% of it by myself. And, I had to work in the cold, and I had to use all my free time, all my spare time to head down in the basement, try to do the basement for at least a couple hours a day, one task at a time, one job at a time, one area at a time, but I had to get it done, and I was determined, and with good reason, because 2024 was an election year, and I cared deeply about how things would turn out in the election. I cared intensely and deeply, and I wanted to focus my energy on that, and I knew it. I knew that at some point my life was going to go on hold, and I was going to be highly motivated and focused on saving democracy in any possible way I can. I was going to do everything I could to help elevate, highlight, push forward, whatever the word is, like promote truth, and promote pro-democracy candidates, and just help in this election in any way I could. And I fought hard, and it was emotional, and I fought alongside everybody else who was fighting for democracy and fighting for a better outcome than the one that we received, who was fighting for, at first Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris, and fighting for the Democrats, and fighting for people that cared about democracy, fighting on behalf of people that cared about democracy. I joined alongside that quest, that mission, and I experienced all the blood, sweat, and tears that came with it, not literally, but the emotional intensity and the pain. And I do remember the worst, most painful moments of it, and how bad it hurt, and how intensely painful it was at times. So I remember that experience. And so I knew that I had to be ready for that. So I didn't have time to be dealing with the basement in spring, because I knew that the closer we were getting to election time, the more I wanted to focus on that. So I cleaned that basement by myself, and we filled 4 huge dumpsters. Huge dumpsters. I don't know what the measurement is, but just imagine the biggest dumpster that dumpster company would have, and we filled 4 of them with old furniture and old stuff, a lot of old stuff that was just kept and piled up, and it was awful. I dealt with mold, I dealt with dust, I dealt with grossness. There was even a fridge that was plugged out in the basement for that still had food in it. Still had food in it. So we had to get that. We had to work towards moving that fridge towards the dumpster without taking anything out of it, without having to touch the food, you know? And so we carried that big heavy fridge over to the dumpster, still full of food and plugged out for Lord knows how long it was plugged out for. So, obviously the food ain't good. And there was even in the basement a container that had like one of those like Christmas cookie containers, a big one that still had cookies in it. So there was even food that was just sitting there for a long time. So I really did experience, and I shared a little bit of this in a previous post. I experienced a relationship with things in a different way. My relationship to things and my understanding of things and the trauma that comes with things that I experience now is because of the year that I had. Because it all started in spring of 2024, where we decided, okay, we had to leave this farm. We love this farm. We wanted to buy that farm at some point. It wasn't working out. And we were starting to feel the energy pulling away from that dream. We were starting to feel that that dream was getting further away from us and not closer. And so we could take a hint, and we made a decision. It's time to go. And from the time we made that decision, the other decision was, okay, where are we going? Well, the plan was to not live here anymore. And when I say here, I mean in the US. The plan was to go back to the Caribbean, you know. But we needed to figure out, how are we going to do that? How are we going to save money? How are we going to do that? We still need to have some place to live in order to save money, because we're a family of 7. So it's not like if we could just buy 7 tickets and just ups and go. It has to be a plan. It has to be strategic. We have to have a lot of shit figured out. And we have to pay a lot of money up front. So still needed a place to live. So we thought, okay, we'll go back to the city. We'll go stay with somebody in the city. And we don't have a lot of people. So our 2 options in the city, for me, weren't that great. One was better than the other, but they weren't that great. I didn't, it wasn't the vibes that I wanted to live in for a very long time. As much as I know there's some people that could pop a squat anywhere. But I realized for me, in order to survive, at least right now, in order to survive as an empath and a person that reads energy, and the person that I am, to thrive and to be okay in an environment, it has to be a certain kind of environment. So I can't, oh gosh, the bug just flew in my eye. I can't live in the city, no matter and where we stayed, by the way, it was good. It was good enough, It was actually a big spacious place, and it was good enough. If I was a different person, it would be good enough. But I can't stay in the city and in that energy and live the lifestyle that I live, which is being at home all day long. I can't do that for long periods of time. So we ended up staying for 6 weeks, and then coming on to the end, gosh, I almost felt like I wanted to, and that has nothing to do with my host. That has nothing to do with my host, It just had everything to do with being in the city and the environment and the energy as an empath and somebody that absorbs energy. And it was too noisy. It was too busy. It wasn't comfortable for me. It wasn't freeing. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't comfortable enough for me. And I cannot imagine sacrificing 6 months of my life living in a situation like that. I really don't want to if I don't have to, because I don't know how I'll survive it. So the opportunity arose to live here, you know. It wasn't planned, it was unexpected. It wasn't planned for the owner either. He kind of had it in his heart to leave, to go to a different state, but he was planning to do that next year. He wasn't planning to do that now. He had no idea who he would have move in the house and take care of the house for him. He had no idea how it was going to happen. And then opportunity presented itself. Opportunity knocked for both parties, you know, for our family and for him. And he was able, because his plan was to go join his brother who had left and moved to a different state. And he wanted to go and be with his brother. So he was able to go do that. And lucky for us, he is a very, very proactive person. Lucky for us, he was a very, very proactive person. So he didn't lag around, man. He just got things moving and things happened quickly. And the only issue was the house was a mess. And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't care. We're going to do this because we want this. We want to live here. We want to live here. I could feel the energy of this place. I could feel the potential. This place is beautiful and it has the potential to be so good to my family and a good experience for my family. And I was not wrong. This We have been here for about a little over a year, and it has been a good experience for our family so far. And as you would know, I do my recordings in a room that I call my serenity room, or I call it my zen den for my kids, you know. But for me, in my heart, is my serenity room, my creative space, my writing space, my meditation space, my everything, my me space. And I've had such beautiful moments, precious moments in that room. I've had precious moments in all over this house. You know, all over this house has just we've already created wonderful memories and had wonderful experiences. And it is all thanks to just looking past the mess, looking past the work, looking past the mountain and the efforts that we would have to make it home, and visualizing the future, believing in the future, feeling the future, seeing the possibility, and then every day, just focus on one task at a time every day until you're done, you know, and eventually you'll be done. And there's a life lesson in that. And the life lesson, I feel, it applies to the moment we're in, where we feel like the world is falling apart and everything is crumbling and people are dying and there's horrible things coming back, revelations and truths coming up to the surface, and things, the worst behaviors of humanity, the worst things, the worst everything that humanity has done in its lifetime, genocide and wars and fascism and authoritarianism, like just the worst elements of humanity, and trying to control, like people trying to control people, and greed and corruption and selfishness and all that stuff is coming up to the surface. And it feels as though the world is out of balance, which it is. It really is out of balance right now, you know. But you gotta do like me, I hope. Do like me and feel the vibration of the future. Feel the vibrations of the future. Feel the energy of the future. Visualize that future. Hold that vision for the future that you want to see and be in. And move in that space, by the way. Don't act as though you're gonna start acting as though you live in that future when it comes. Be in it already. Walk in it already. Live in it already. Act as though it's real, because they're gonna become real if enough of us come into an agreement. And trust me when I tell you, as somebody who is paying more attention to the light than the darkness, there is enough of us already awoken right now that vibration is coming. It's coming. And the only reason that you know all this shit is happening is because they're desperate, they're grasping on with their life. But that's a old energy, old mindset, old skin. Year of the snake, old skin is shedding And there ain't nothing that old skin could do about it. Trust me when I tell you, enough of us already, I 100% believe this. Enough of us are already awake to shift it. It's already shifting. I can feel it. I can see it. It's already shifting. You know, it has already shifted. You know, and I feel it in my belly. I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my life. And I'm not only feeling it by seeing it. It's not like if I just fantasizing and I'm living in my little bubble. I am seeing it too. If you focus on the darkness, that's all you're going to see. But if you just focus on that little speck of light, trust me when I tell you, it only feels distant. It only feels small because you feel distant away from it. But it's actually bigger than you think. Just keep walking. Just keep walking forward. Just keep walking forward. And you're going to realize that little small speck of light that you're seeing, that little teeny speck, it's actually bigger than you think. Just keep walking forward. And you're going to see how big it is. I mean, like right now, I'm looking at the sun in the sky. You know, if my phone was cool enough that I could turn it well and keep the recording going, it would. I'm looking at the sun in the sky. And that little speck that I'm seeing is not the size of the sun, right? So it's bigger than you think. Just keep moving forward in love, in light, in the world, living in the world that you want to live in. Create your world. Create the world as you want it to be. So I could go on forever. I just wanted to do an outside recording. I actually came out here to say something completely different. So I'm just gonna say what the actual thought that made me come out here to record was about, and then we could pull on that thread another time. But one of the things I wanted to say is that I grew up in Christian a Christian upbringing, but not the kind of Christian upbringing that was like consistent and devoted and strict. It was my mom was always seeking, you know, because my mom had a lot of struggles, you know. She's a tough lady. She had a lot of struggles in her life, you know. And I feel that she bear the brunt of the struggles on behalf of her children, because I have not struggled in the way my mom has struggled. I doubt my brothers or my sisters or anybody, my siblings have struggled in the way that my mom has struggled and the things that she has dealt with, you know. So in her struggles, she always was seeking, you know, seeking that love and that community and the things that church promise, you know. And we would go to church for a while and then we would stop. I don't know why, but we would go to church for a while and then we would stop. I feel maybe it's because you go seeking and for a while you think you find it, and then the longer you sit in it, the longer you're there, you realize maybe you didn't find it. Maybe it isn't what you thought it was. You know, maybe it isn't as loving as you thought it was. Maybe the love isn't unconditional. Maybe the love comes with me being a certain way and, you know, me being a certain way and me living up to the expectations of the church. So when the church gets to know me and I get to know the church, we realize we don't live up to each other's expectations, and the love, you know, fades. That warmth in our community fades, and you probably don't get past that. You know, that's just a speculation. So we would be in and out of the church. So I had a semi-Christian upbringing, in and out of the church my entire life. Even in my own life, as with my own marriage, also in and out of the church, going to from one church to the next, also seeking, same thing that my mom was seeking. And the thought that I actually came out here to say is that the things that have been locked into my heart from what I've learned from the Bible, because I haven't read my Bible in a long time. I know verses, I got verses in my heart that are just, you know, in there because I know them. I'm not a verse memorization person, so I don't know them word for word, but I know the energy of the verses, the concept of the verses, right? I don't know where to find them, but I know them, if that makes sense. So I know stuff from the Bible. I know the stories. I know verses. I know things, and they're in my heart, just like all the little wisdoms that I collect from other places. They're in my heart, you know. And I just wanted to say that I feel like I understand a lot of the verses in a different way. Like for instance, the verse that came to my head when that thought came to my head was the one that talked about us being in the world but not of the world. I understand that differently. It's the same thing. Is the same thing that we're talking about timeline, you know, people living in different timelines, the timeline shift. We're talking about some people living in a higher vibration, some people living in a lower vibration, you know, some people on the 5D timeline or 4D timeline. There's a whole bunch of conversation about it, you know, different timelines. Some people are experiencing the ascension, and some people are still experiencing the fear and the crumbling and trying to hold on to the old world, trying to save the old world, you know. And some people are like, okay, I ain't trying to save that old world, you know. I ain't trying to live in it anymore. They've ascended. They have moved on to a higher vibration. But yeah, still, we touching the same soil. We still on the same earth. We still on the same planet. Our physical being is still in the world, you know, but we're not of it. You know, so we're in the world, meaning we're on earth, we're here with everybody, but that don't mean we're participating in that lower vibration timeline. That doesn't mean that we are of the world. We are having the same conversations that the world is having, you know? And so that verse kind of hit differently in my head. And someday when the world gets quiet and my life isn't so uncertain and I'm a little bit more stabilized and settled, I hope to explore the Bible a lot more and explore how I understand the Bible as an enlightened person, as an elevated person, an ascended person. How do I understand the word now? You know, and my understanding of it. And like I said, this channel is Letitia Learns Life, where I pull on little threads. I try to learn new things, try to understand things. I receive mental downloads and spiritual uploads. The reason I call them spiritual uploads, they're actually spiritual downloads too. Like things they'll be downloaded into my heart chakra, into my soul. And then they become spiritual uploads when I do this, when that spiritual energy, that spiritual concept comes up here, that vibration, and exits my throat chakra, you know. So I receive mental downloads, the knowing, and the third eye, the intuition, mental downloads that comes here and exits this portal, throat chakra, and the spiritual downloads, the things that come from here, the energy that comes from here and comes up and also exits the throat chakra, my expression. So, you know, that's how I see it. Thank you for listening to me, and I'm looking forward to when this video is posted. It will be probably posted in a day, May. Hopefully it's a good day. Hopefully the vibration is good, you're doing well, and peace and blessings to you and a lot of love. Thank you for listening to me share my early morning thoughts. It's not as quiet and as peaceful as I would have liked it to be. It's like after 6, maybe after 7 by now. So we had a little bit of combination of nature sounds and traffic sounds. Thank you for listening to my early morning thoughts and one of my many outdoor videos that are to come in the season of spring and summer as we start to embark on the outdoor times, the seasons of spring and summer. Love you. Peace and blessings. Thanks for watching.